is indeed given opportunities and giving the opportunities and the challenges, so to say. And that is a bit what is at stake. And I was just mentioning for myself those question marks of your explanation. Technology neutrality, question mark, performance levels, question mark, last 10%, question mark. When I started this portfolio, I said every European digital, and that should be indeed filled in at the end of my term in office in this portfolio. For we can't afford, we shouldn't want to take the risk that there is a dividing community, for that is at stake. If we are not connecting everybody, then we are making a split in the society. And here a couple of issues are at stake. The future economy, and the future economy starts today, so to say. It is already on the move. And we are already aware that ICT is already worth half of our productivity growth. So if we are facing an economy that is in trouble, and that is also a fact, that's no news, what is the recipe, what is the medicine, so to say, to be far more aware and to be far more alert in filling in what is possible with the technology. And talking about Europe's economy, Europe's future economy, that is a digital economy. And that doesn't mean that everybody should have a job like Alex or like whoever has. It is the way in which we are just doing our job. And if we are looking at the figures, just a couple of figures, the digital economy of Europe nowadays is bigger than the GDP of Belgium. It's growing faster than the GDP of the People's Republic of China. Well, that is quite impressive, for we are all aware that already a couple of years China is just showing that the GDP is still going up, and this digital economy figure is showing that that is a bigger and bigger growing factor. Not just a platform for offering existing products and services, but to create new ones. And again, you gave an excellent example. It is not doing what was done in former days. It is taking opportunities, and it is taking opportunities for especially the younger generation. And that is what is one of my issues that I'm highly involved with. If we are talking new opportunities and taking into account, sometimes people are asking me, what is your biggest worry when you go to bed? There is one worry, and the biggest worry is the youth unemployment. If we are aware today that in certain member states more than 61% of our younger generation is without a job, and in certain other countries it is 50 and a little bit less in others, still far too high, for then you are talking about a lost generation. Can you imagine youngsters who did their utmost to fill their backpack with education and a bit of experience, but don't get the opportunity to get experience, but also don't get an opportunity to start a family, to start, and so on and so forth. It is the biggest worry that we should have. And now there is one positive point in that whole situation. Talking about, for example, Spain. Well, we are aware that also Spain is rather high, 54% of the younger generation, no job. And what is at stake, and there the digital economy is giving opportunities, those youngsters are aware that if they are waiting for a regular job, so to say, what was always expected, after a while you get your job in a company or whatever, that they are taking their initiative themselves. Talking about entrepreneurship, these are the startups, these are the opportunities that are making a change in an economic model. And that is at stake. That, by the way, is also asking a change of mindset. for it is not a guarantee that when you are a startup, when you are taking an initiative, that it's always a success. Most of the startups, anyhow, have a couple of experiences with a failure, sometimes with a bankruptcy, but there we should have another mindset for learning of your failures, and I'm certain those who have entrepreneurial experience here, that they have that experience. Talking about a climate, also talking about the climate of governments, talking about Europe, we still think that someone has to be blamed when you are not a success. And even in Silicon Valley, it is quite regular that the bankruptcy are there. And we only listen to the success stories. But that is nonsense, for most of them first have a failure. And after the weekend, and that is a difference with quite our experience in Europe, they are starting again after the weekend and just going for a new experience. So, existing products and services, okay, but it is the chance to create new ones, tailored, interactive, instant. So we can just look all over the place. And that was mentioned already, Mr. Chair. If we are talking about a digital economy, if we are talking and looking into my portfolio, then it is about a horizontal issue, for it's connected with all the other sectors. It is connected with e-health, it's connected with e-energy, it's connected with e-environment, e-procurement, name it. What was mentioned before, that your farmers now are faced with a lot of information and a lot of consequences of getting a subsidy or getting a backing via 3 agencies, different, a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of effort. And if you could do this in a digital way, it is saving money, it is getting less irritation, it is far more speedy, and so on. So it is talking about everyone in our society who could take advantage of it. And I'm always saying ministers of finance should be my best and closest friends, for it makes sense for talking about e-health. We can't afford to have a system that we had till yesterday in continuing with an aging population. It is not to be done. Even in the richest member of the family in Europe, it's not affordable. So we have to take other experiences and other methods, so to say. And if we are talking about small and medium-sized businesses, it is even more for them the digital oxygen to help them to grow and export twice as much. No wonder, by the way, that broadband boost growth, 10 percentage points extra penetration means 1 to 1.5 point more GDP growth. And people are saying, but then you are losing jobs, for if it is digitized, have those 3 agencies, then they are losing their job. It is a fact that 1 job lost, 2.6 jobs created. So it is another type of job, so to say. It is another type of effort that you are looking at. And here in the UK, by the way, our latest data show that 58% of British households had coverage by fast next generation networks. Well, the chair was showing me that even here there is a problem, so I'm a bit careful now, and I'm just, yeah, well, but by the way, it is a investment, and I discussed that with your minister, who is highly involved in that state aid issue, and I explained to her that, and certainly with my experience in former days on competition policy, that state aid rules in general do have a function. For if we have one single market and we don't have a fair level playing field, then we are just making a mess out of a market. And the consumer at the end of the day is paying the bill, but also an economy is paying the bill. So it can't be said up front that state aid rules are not making sense. State aid rules, by the way, are not created by the Commission. It is a council decision that is in favor for a type of referee function where you can measure that it is in a fair level playing field. In that case, I think that it is quite important to explain, also the minister should explain, that you have to follow the rules as long as they are there. That is normal spoken, the line to take. But if you have the feeling that it doesn't fit anymore, then don't blame the rules that are at stake, but just be as corrigible to say, is the system where we are talking of, is the market definition, is that the one that is fitting in our approach of today? For you can't blame the civil servants who are just following the list, so to say, and that is at stake, and that is my proposal. So if you are asking, but what is your approach, then it is talking about those issues. Then we should find out what is your market definition and how can you make it work in a transparent, consistent, and predictable way. Those three elements for me are main. If it is predictable, if it is transparent, and if it's consistent, then a lot is to be explained. If we are looking at what is at stake, and I won't take too much time, for I prefer to get the questions, and I imagine, so I will just make a rounding off. It is not anymore a ring-fenced market. If you are in favor, yes or no, it is not connected with reality to say we ring-fence Europe. Even you can't say it for the UK. You can't ring-fence Europe, the UK either. It is an open market. It is a global playing field. Having said that, taking into account that the Far East is quite active, is quite determined to take quite a part of all those activities. So, and it's not only the People's Republic of China, Korea, or Taiwan, or Japan. It is also Latin America. It is also the US. So we should be aware that we have to make up our mind what type of future economy we want. So having all those issues at stake, we need a broadband investment far higher than what is at the moment at stake. It is a shame that EU leaders not that long ago took a decision. It is, in my opinion, and certainly talking about what was at stake, especially talking for the rural areas, those investments in broadband that are not profitable and therefore not attractive for the private companies to invest. There, I think, is absolutely a must that governments and that the Commission together are just making efforts to just fill in. And what I was saying, every European digital means even if you are living in a rural area, mountain area, islands or whatever, you should have such a connection. So we should use all our efforts, and therefore I think that it was a wrong decision, for it was not only talking about the 9.2 or 7.2 billion with that creative leverage instrument together with the European Investment Bank, and therefore I'm expecting that Parliament, the European Parliament, is in favor for just changing. European Parliament can, with the latest change of the Lisbon Treaty, can change that type of decision, that they will come back to this type of wrong decisions out of the Council. Anyhow, we should just go for find out what is the state aid rule trying to catch, and what we have as a final goal in what type of market do we want to perform. All in all, a lot to do. I know that it is even more important for citizens to be aware that they are connected, and then we have to make up our mind how we can invest, what way, and investors should be aware that this is a profitable future in which you can make money. Thank you.